Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to share another message with you. This is the last week of me doing these devotions since I'm retiring soon. And today, I want to tell a story or read a scripture from John chapter 11. Now, you probably are familiar with this story. It's a story about a man named Lazarus and his two sisters, Mary and Martha, and Lazarus' good friend, Jesus. In this story, we find out that Lazarus gets sick and dies. And Martha sends information out to Jesus that he's sick, please come. And for whatever reason, Jesus takes his time getting there. So we find in verse 21, when Jesus shows up, Martha says, Lord, if you had only been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask. Now, the story hinges on this verse. Martha is clearly saying that her brother is dead. Done. Finished. But she still knows that Jesus can do anything. And she's heard all kinds of stories of the miracles he's worked. So Jesus responds with these words. Your brother will rise again. And then Martha says, but yeah, he'll rise when everybody else rises at the last day. You see, Martha does not understand what Jesus is trying to tell her. He's trying to tell her that though Lazarus is dead, he's going to come alive again right now. And she says, well, yeah, I believe in somewhere down at the end, he'll show up. You know, when God tells us something, we ought to just believe it. Martha should have just said, fantastic, oh, thank you, but she doesn't. And she makes this comment about the last days. And then Jesus responds by saying, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this, Martha? Well, Jesus is trying to probe Martha's thinking. How much does she really believe? Now, on the surface, it looks pretty simple. Do you believe that when you die, you're going to live again in eternity? Martha says, yeah, I believe that. But then Jesus says something even more profound. But do you believe? You know, he's probing here. And let's finish the story, then I'll come back to this. And Martha says, yes, Lord, I have always believed that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one who has come into the world from God. But that's not what Jesus asked. Martha responds with an answer that doesn't fit the question. Why is that? Well, maybe it's because she's human. She's like you and me. Or more importantly, we're like her. God tells us something, and it's unbelievable. So we hedge a little bit. We don't want to say, hey, God, what do you think you're saying? As though we know more. But we hedge a little. I guess we're afraid to believe because maybe we think we'll get disappointed. But you can never get disappointed in believing in God and in trusting Him. Oh, it may not work out the way you thought, but He's still working on it. And the same thing happens here to Martha. So the story goes on, and Jesus says, well, where have you put him? And they go to the tomb. And Jesus says this, roll the stone away. What does Martha say? Oh, wow, it's going to be great. Nah, she doesn't say that. She says, verse, what would this be? 39. Lord, he's been dead for 4 days, as if Jesus didn't know that. The smell will be terrible, as if Jesus didn't know that either. And then Jesus responds, didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believed? Well, the story finishes up because Jesus calls Lazarus to come out of the grave, and he does, and everything is miraculous. And at some point, he has to die again, but that's not part of this story. It's a story about a woman, Martha, who loves her brother and is trying so hard to make sense out of his death. Even when she and he are good friends of Jesus. They have the answer. It's Jesus, but they don't, or she, he's dead, she won't trust the answer. You know, we got to decide what we're going to trust in. Yeah, you do. And you're going to live your life based on what your decision is. Now, I would prefer, for me, to trust in something that I can know is eternal. It's called God. But others trust in other things. The point being here, Jesus said, didn't I tell you that if you would just believe, you'd see God's glory? And I would say to you today, if you would just believe, you will see God's glory. Now, maybe it'll be the exact answer to the exact problem that you're struggling with. Maybe it'll be a better answer, one you never thought of, but it will be an answer. You see, all we have to lose is our doubt and disbelief. As long as we really do what Martha said, I know you are from God. I know Jesus is from God, and he has come into this world to visit and befriend and to teach and to instruct me, you, and everyone else. So I'll leave you with the question, do you trust in Jesus? Only you can answer that. And if your answer is, I'm not sure, okay, that's a good start. Keep looking, and you'll find more. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. If there's anything we can do to help out, please call us. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your needs. So until tomorrow, which will be my last one of these devotionals that I do, I wish you God's wonderful blessings and a great day. I'll be back and I'll share one more story.